Hi guys. Back as planned and as I promised. See, I told you I'm trying to be good, trying to do these videos on time. Um, so here it is, Raw, kicking off from Austin, Texas, um, for Monday, the 22nd of July, 2013. Um, Raw started off a little bit differently. You don't normally get contract signings opening shows. They tend to close shows. They tend to be our main events or something. Um, so yeah, it was an interesting way to open up. So glad they seem to be keeping Daniel Bryan as a face, and they're doing a face versus face um, match, which I think done right could tell a very good story. Um, so yeah, they seem to be kind of doing a thing where they're kind of you know telling an underdog type of story, and if they can just execute it right and actually have the balls to put the strap on Daniel Bryan. Say, I mean, I still think Randy Orton will probably come in at some point because he wasn't on the show, curiously today. Um, and I suspect they're doing that on purpose. Mark my words. So you heard it here first. I think that's where they're probably going. As they start, they kept Randy Orton off the show today. I didn't notice that. Um, but you know, they could tell a very good underdog story. Even if Randy Orton ends up cashing in on Daniel Bryan, I think they still can tell a good underdog story with this. Um, so yeah, they opened the show with Maddox, and Maddox is being a little bit more heelish. Um, yeah, his mic skills are slowly improving, Maddox. You know, I like him, so I want him to succeed. Um, they're slowly getting better. I think the more practice he has, I think the more he'll come along. He still looked like he was trying to just get his lines out. And I think he just needs to be a bit more natural with it. But slowly but surely, I think he'll get better. I actually think that general manager role is actually perfect for him, especially because he's a bit green still. So it gives him an opportunity to kind of learn his trade a bit better, including his promo skills. So, you know, fair enough. I have no problems with this segment. I mean, it was straight to the point. Basically, they're telling a story of, you know, why the fuck did you pick Bryan? Because Bryan isn't worthy of his position. Cena's saying that, you know, he picked Bryan because he believes that he is the most worthy opponent that he will face at the moment. You know, fair enough. Then in the match of the night that I genuinely didn't give two shits about, that was Shay Shit versus Alberto Del Boring. Um, boring one. Next. Then also a backstage segment between Teddy and Booker. I'm interested to see what where they're going with this, but basically, it was just weird to appear on Raw. You would have thought, if anything, it'd be on SmackDown, but it's a backstage interview with Teddy and Booker, and basically Teddy saying, you know, it's your fault. You left me in the lurch for 3 months, and Booker saying, well, you know, I had a legitimate injury, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Um, I'm just curious to see where they go with it, because otherwise I'm not really sure what the point of the segment was. But you know, I'm not going to judge too much until I actually see where they go with it. So interesting segment for what it was. Then Christian and Titus O'Neil had a match, decent match. Um, Christian won, kind of a bit directionless at the moment. I'm not really sure what they want to do with Christian. Um, but, you know, I just think at the moment people like Christian are suffering in the shuffle. Wow. people like Brock is having a SummerSlam match, so you're going to get people that lose out like Christian. Um, he's just a bit directionless at the moment, and he's one of those people. He's going on a bit of a winning streak, so I'm guessing they have some sort of idea as to what they want to do with him. So let's see what they do. A bad backhanded interview. Looks like they're trying to revamp his character again because they realise that this cryback bullshit. Oh man! I mean, personally, you guys have seen the video that I've done on Ryback already. It's such a shame. It's such a shame that WWE destroyed his character by turning him heel. That is just when he was just when he was just starting to get over, and those Goldberg chants were starting to die down. They flipped the guy heel. They destroyed him. They destroyed him by doing that. But yeah, here you have it, and basically, I don't know. He now picks on the average guy. That's pretty much all I got out of this. Whatever. And Mark Henry came to the ring, cut out a short but sweet segment, basically calling out the Shield. Shield came over, and then I had like an epiphany. I think that the WWE are using Henry to get the Shield over. Hear me out. Ultimately, Henry is respected by most WWE fans in the business as being a veteran. So you flip him face, you automatically get the Usos over, which in turn gets the heel over. And I think that is I think Henry's being used as a vehicle ultimately to get the Shield over as heels. Because I think while people like them, I think that they have a lot of ability, particularly in Ambrose and Rollins. I don't think people quite buy them yet. I don't think they're quite over. I might do a video on that at some point, just to explain what I mean. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's what that's about. But I don't know. I haven't quite finished that thought process yet. Once I do, I'll do a video on that. Then a backstage segment with Bryan and Cena. I thought it was a good segment actually. Basically, Bryan saying, telling Cena to not go out there. And if you do go out there and help him. Oh, sorry, I forgot a key part of the opening segment. Basically, Maddox sets something up whereby Bryan would have to prove himself by having 3 matches. So then Cena came backstage and basically said, how the fuck can you go through 3 matches in one night? This is some bullshit. Bryan said, listen, I appreciate your concern, but this is my problem. If you go out there and try and help me, then it basically ruins all the complimentary things you were saying to me earlier, which is understandable. So it was a good, cohesive segment, short, sweet, to the point, gave the message, delivered the message. I thought it was good. And then a backstage segment with, then a match with Dan Young and Dolph Ziggler. Dolph won. Biggie and Dolph kind of brawled for a bit. The Dolph slides out of the ring and they kind of back away from each other, and that's pretty much that. Next, the Miz TV segment. Has everyone noticed that the Miz TV is used every single week? Whether it's Raw or SmackDown, or sometimes both. Like, it's a bit overexposed at the moment. People are not kind of like taking it seriously. However, I think for things like this, it was a good way to kind of introduce. It's a show that they're trying to build up. it's a show that I'd be curious to at least watch one episode of, if I'm honest. Um, so yeah, I think it did what it needed to. It did drag on for too long, which is what I was initially worried about when I went into the segment. I thought it was an okay segment. You might get a lot of people kind of slating on it because it was a diva segment. Funkadactors looking tear their asses up. But I thought it achieved what it needed to achieve. I thought it was a good short segment. Apparently, one of the new divas, Ava Marie, is apparently a heel. Okay. Um, yeah, it was what it was. And then Cody Fandango. I think this rivalry is building beautifully. Um, not Cody Fandango, but Cody and Sandow building beautifully. Um, Cody basically won with a crossroads, while Sandow was basically talking shit in a commentary position. But I agree with JBL and Sandow. Exactly what did Sandow do wrong? I like Cody, I'm not twisted. But what did he do wrong? Did he not just go for the briefcase the way everyone was supposed to go for the briefcase? I still don't understand what Michael point was. That, oh, he lied to them. How? He didn't want every man for themselves. Yeah, that just pissed me off. I just thought to myself, I know you're trying to get Cody over as a face. And probably for that reason, it probably didn't work that well. Maybe if you kind of gave him a low blow or something, it might have looked a bit better. But I don't know. I still don't know what he did wrong, but whatever. But yeah, good segment. Rivalry's building well. They're telling a good story with that one. Probably in the segment of the night, it seems you knew when it comes to CM Punk and Paul Heyman, you've got two of the best talkers in the business. So you're only going to get good promos from these two. And that's what you got again here. It seems to be kind of, as CM Punk coined the phrase, the best versus the beast. That seems to be, I can guarantee you that's the marketing ploy that they're going to go for when promoting this match. It's a match that most people are going to buy SummerSlam to see. And yeah, it's going to be a good match, and this was a good promo segment. Essentially, just to cut through all the bullshit. It was Heyman accepting the match on Brock's behalf via satellite. And the match was made, and as simple as that. And RVD, I didn't talk about RVD in my last video. I'm not a big RVD fan. I'm not a huge Y2J fan. But those two had arguably the match of the year last week. It was fantastic. One of the matches I genuinely watched from start to finish without fast forwarding it or anything. Their chemistry was beautiful. And although RVD won, I think they both won essentially. The match was wonderful. A wonderful, wonderful match. And I'm unbiased because I'm not a huge fan of either guy. But it was a very, very good match. I just wanted to mention that. RVD basically beat Wade Barrett. I've said it before, I say it again. As a British guy, I'm gutted at what's happening to Wade Barrett right now. He should have been one of WWE's biggest heels right now. I don't know what the fuck they're doing with that guy. I'm just devastated, really. And then in the main event segment, I guess, you had Daniel Bryan's gauntlet match. So it started off with Daniel Bryan versus Jack Swagger. Made Jack Swagger tap out pretty quickly. And Daniel Bryan, as he seems to be having a lot of very good matches lately, had another one with Antonio Cesaro, who I know for you ROH marks would have loved that one. Those two had a very, very good match. Very, very good match. Went back and forth, crowd were bang into it, and You know, southern crowds don't really react too well these days. Uh, but in this match, they were really into it, chanting "This is awesome" and everything. And eventually, Daniel Bryan had a encounter where Cesaro he was running at Cesaro. Cesaro threw him up, and then Daniel Bryan basically landed on him and then rolled him up in a small package. It was very good. Um, and then Daniel Bryan's third match was against Bareback. Um, he seems to get decent matches out of Bareback, and this, although their first match was by far better, this one wasn't terrible. I don't tend to watch Bareback matches, but this one was alright. Um, and essentially, um, Daniel Bryan won via disqualification because Bareback put Daniel Bryan through a table. And just when he was about to beat up Daniel Bryan some more, Super Cena runs out, starts beating down Bareback. Bareback runs away like a little bitch. And then basically, Cena basically just says, "Oh, you know, try and do that shit to me," and essentially, you kind of make a match for next week. Um, Cena versus Bareback in the tables match, and then Vince and Maddox had a segment. To be honest, as always with this fucking McMahon bullshit, it just needs to get to the point. Um, Throughout the night, Maddox had a quick confrontation with Triple H and a quick confrontation with Steph. Steph still looking fly. Um, and it ended with Vince and Maddox and basically saying, Vince basically saying, "Are you still going to deny Daniel Bryan a chance to prove himself?" So the Maddox is like, and Vince basically saying he needs to fight someone vicious to bring out his aggressive side. So it's going to be Kane versus Daniel Bryan next week. So I'm expecting to see the Wyatts. The Wyatts weren't on this week's show, which is a little bit disappointing. But I'm guessing with Kane then being something is going to happen next week. I'm eager to see what that will be. All in all, it was a good show. I mean, I think last week's show was a very good show, and I did say about 3 weeks ago when they had a really good show, which I now hear was written by Paul Heyman and Zeb Coulter. And so that makes sense as to why it was a really good show. And that was the show with Mark Henry's epic Oscar-winning segment. And so yeah, apparently it was Heyman and Zeb Coulter that wrote that show last minute because they fired their head writer or some shit. And last week was a very good show. So I should say, at the first time they did a good show, they gave me 4 more like that. They have me for another year watching wrestling. Last week was like one of those 1 more. They've got 3 more to go. This one wasn't quite on that scale. I don't think it was as good. Had good moments, dragged on a little bit some places. The match doesn't care too much for, really, other than Daniel Bryan one, and Cody Rhodes and Bandanga one, and Cesaro and Daniel Bryan one. Other than that, I didn't really care too much for the matches, but it was what it was. Decent show. Didn't make me fall asleep. And yeah, just looking forward to Sunday. It was a good SummerSlam build-up. That was what they started to achieve. And even if they didn't start to make matches, they're clearly establishing rivalries, so that's good. So let's see how it plays out. I'm going to start to grade my shows from now on. So I'll give this one a C. Wasn't the best, but didn't totally suck. A C show. I think that's about right. Comment, subscribe up above, like this video. Next coming week, I should hopefully do another topical video about baby faces and characters. I've been meaning to do this for the last couple of months. It's been a bit slack. in terms of what I think about the WWE, and they have certain characters. What characters I think work better as baby faces, and what characters I think work better as heels. Um, they have started to repair that recently, but I still think they have a couple of people in odd places, and I think I'd quite like to address that. So yeah, let's do a video on that. So stay tuned to that, and I hope to catch you guys soon. Take care. Peace.